So you are removing critical thinking, you're removing freedom of expression, you're removing any individualistic pattern. What do you expect that person to be? Hi fam, welcome to another episode of Bdoun Sukkar, where there are no filters and no sugarcoating. I have a question for you. How were you growing up? I know I've asked this question before, but I mean it in a different way. How was your relationship with yourself? How were you feeling growing up? Were you angry? Were you keeping to yourself? Were you accepted the way you were? I have an interesting topic for today, and it didn't come from me. It came actually from someone who follows the podcast, and I'm very thankful for her. And it's about emotional repression, أو بالعربي الكبت أو كبت المشاعر. وصراحة I had to Google it because I didn't know the actual definition. So let's start. كبت المشاعر نوع من المشاكل العاطفية التي من شأنها تؤثر سلبا على الصحة النفسية. That's what Google says. فكبت المشاعر هو عبارة عن احتفاظ بالمشاعر وعدم الإفصاح عما يفكر أو يشعر به المريض خوفا من ردات فعل المحيطين به. In English, it's emotional repression, keeping your thoughts to yourself, your feelings, your emotions and expression out of fear of other people's reaction. And that sums up the way I grew up. And it sums up a lot of people's growing up. Maybe still even going through it. And I struggled a little bit to even think about what to say about it. Like, okay, yes, I went through it, my friends went through it, my husband went through it, everyone went through it. So what? But actually, it hit me today that بدون سكر is بشكل مباشر أو غير مباشر نتيجة الكبت. It's a result of it. It's a result of how we were treated. It's a result of how we were spoken to, of all the things that we didn't speak about. If I want to have a take on it, let's go back to basics. The way we grew up, at home, and I'm sure a lot of people grew up like that, especially in the Middle East, especially in the GCC. I think we're quite repressed emotionally. At home, no one spoke about emotions, of course. There's a lot of anger and tension all the time, which you feel like you're tiptoeing. I would have to strategize and count and prepare if I wanted to go ask my dad to take me to my friend's house. I had to do the same if I wanted to ask him to take me shopping. I had to do the same if I wanted to ask him about mom, which was one of the hardest things to do. We just never spoke. There was just a lot of anger and tantrums and all of that. And whenever I wanted to have an argument, whenever I wanted to have a debate, whenever I wanted to challenge something, I was told to cut it short. باللبناني صريحة. I never use that word right now because it triggers me. I hated it. My grandmother used to say it to me. I felt so invalidated. I felt so angry. I felt like whatever I was saying was not important. On another level, when I was a teenager, I knew I suffered from low self-esteem. I don't know how I know it, but I knew it. I remember researching it, looking it up. I knew something was off. And I went to my aunt and my uncle to tell them, hey, I suffer from low self-esteem. I don't know what to do with it and I need help. What I got was they made fun of it. They made fun of me. They made fun of me saying that or thinking that. And they just went in circles asking, oh, what is it? What is it? What is self-esteem? How do you know what you have it? Okay, haha. And they just laughed at it and brushed it off. And if you went to school, we had a very strict schooling system in the entire country. We weren't allowed to wear anything that's colorful. So obviously we had uniform and you cannot not wear uniform. With that, you cannot have long nails. You cannot have nail polish of any color, of any type, even the glossy one. You never allowed to have hair dyes, No piercings besides the ear piercing, and that's only 1 or 2 maximum. The jackets have to be specific color. Everything is gray, blue, or white, or black, and that's it. Your socks, no makeup, of course. At that time, you weren't allowed to have phones. I don't know how it is right now, but obviously that was a big thing. And we lived, we had, sudden raids. We were schoolgirls, You just lived in perpetual fear of what you're wearing, how you're wearing it, the colors, how you're dressing, like who you look like, how short your hair, how long is your hair, how you do your hair. What did it turn us into? We kept suppressing any type of expression at every level possible from a very young age. What does it mean? Even if it went to to educational parts, and especially we took religious courses. We had a lot. It was quite intensive, and that's the curriculum. And people had questions. Girls had questions, and they're normal questions. At one point, not a lot of points, when we went in circles and just kept asking, why was this like this? What does it mean to us? How do we do this? We were told that if we keep questioning, it meant that we lacked belief, that we lacked faith. We were questioning to understand. So you are removing critical thinking, you're removing freedom of expression, you're removing any individualistic pattern. What do you expect that person to be? I know I challenged it all over and over and over again. I got in trouble over and over again. But you know what that made me turn into? When I was 15, I would go to Lebanon for the summer, and we would go to the beach. And they're private beaches, and there's entertainment, and turned into a rowdy beach bar. And that's everything I saw on MTV. So of course I was in every bar top. I was a 15-year-old dancing at a bar, and my family was not happy. So they tried to scheme with each other. My mom telling my aunt that she can't take me to the beach bars anymore. It meant that every time I saw a bunch of boys, that's all I can look at and wanted their attention. It meant that I had that manipulative, abusive boyfriend, because I've had so much void in me, emotional void, that I knew no one can listen. No one is there to listen to me. No one is there to hear me. I felt unseen, unheard, invalidated over and over and over again by every person in my life. It made me pray for people like that. It made me not have a voice. It made me whisper in supermarkets and in stores when I speak to my aunt or my mom or whoever, because I was too scared to speak up. I was too scared to be heard. It made me think that if an outfit is not sexy, it's not a nice outfit. If my cleavage is not showing when I was in university, then it's not an outfit. I couldn't go without a top showing my cleavage. You'd think I know better. It made me feel like I missed out on my life so much, but it also gave me so much drive to get the hell out of whatever it is. I knew I had to get the good grades, do the double major, finish university. I finished with double majors, high distinction in both in university. I looked for the first job. All I remember telling my mom, I want to finish university so fast so I become independent, so I can have my own money. That's all I wanted. I wanted that freedom from it. I know I'm privileged to even have that option. I know that. But repression has driven a lot of my life. الكبت made me who I am, not necessarily in a good way, but because it also made me realize that I needed CBT, and that's cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a technique to rewire your patterns in your head, in your mind. Because I did what is called filling in the blank. So if someone were to tell me something, like, oh, these jeans look really nice on you today. In my head, it meant, so the jeans I was wearing the other day didn't look good enough, or didn't look nice, or whatever. I had to fill in the gaps. I had to fill in the blanks. And the person never meant it. And then it would just fester in my head and get bigger and bigger, and I fight with them or end a relationship or end a friendship or whatever. And they had no idea why. So I learned how to become confrontational, because That's how it started, because I knew I was going to go crazy if I don't ask that person what they meant by whatever statement they made. And that helped me a lot. And this is where I became the person I became right now. But why did I have to go through so much therapy? Through so much anger? I remember I was so angry until one day I woke up and I wasn't. I don't know what happened and how it happened. Of course, it took a lot of work, but I had so much anger. I was left alone for so long, left to the TV, left to the internet, which is horrible places for a 12, 10-year-old, 13-year-old to be left alone in Saudi or anywhere, mind you. And I just wanted to speak. All I did was have phone calls with my girlfriends because there was no one else in the house to speak to, and they were the only ones who knew I felt anything. We just never spoke about that, I was always shut down. And I can't recall how many times I daydreamed of running away and what my life could have been, what my life could be. And I'm sure a lot of people even have done it and faced really, really negative repercussions. In our side of the world, that could lead all the way to death. From minor things such as being grounded and taking your phone away and being angry with, to death. We know that. We all know that. We have honor killings in our region. We have people getting married off because they acted like that or reckless or whatever it is. It's quite serious. Just because we could not speak to our family. And just because we felt unheard, unseen, unthought of. Yeah, I think I wanted to avoid this topic. And I thank Samah for bringing it up, because it brought up a lot of the feelings that I thought I was over. I remember describing myself as a ticking time bomb. And when I was reading more about repression, الكبت, one of the negative impacts is actually anxiety and anger and stress. And I remember feeling like that ever since I was at least 10, That's a very young age to be this angry. And maybe I stopped being so angry mid-20s. That's a lot, I struggle with anger. I'm an angry person for sure. Because what I learned from my family and from myself, anger serves me. Being angry, being confrontational serves me. It did me well. But I'm learning that's not maybe the best way to go on with life. I don't know if I have a message here. And I'm sure this is part of generational trauma. And I hope if we become parents, if we are parents, that we make space for people, for our kids, for their emotions, for validation. If not for kids, it's for our friends, for our siblings, for our parents, for our partners, to give them that space. And maybe this is what's Bdoun Sukkar for. Sometimes I forget what is Bdoun Sukkar for, why it's there, but I created it to make space because I needed space, because I never had space. And I wanted to create space for people like me or people who are not like me. It's a place to be to express and to hold no judgment for others who express as well, because we need it. Because that's how you build connections. And honestly, I think we need a lot more connections, because the world right now is in a really bad place. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Let me know what you thought. Let me know how you were when you were a kid. How did you feel? What did you do? Do you think you went through emotional repression أو الكبت العاطفي أو الجسدي actually مو جنسي جسدي I mean physical repression, where you are not okay with your body, where you don't know your body, where you're ashamed of your body. Because I struggle with body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia is when you feel, you don't know how your body looks like. You feel like what you see is not real. I don't know how my body looks like. I struggle with it a lot. And a part of it is because I've never seen it truly. I've never allowed to be seen. I've never been allowed to express and show my body in a mature, objective, non-sexualized manner. So yeah, I think I'll cover another episode about body dysmorphia. It's a bigger topic than this. I would love to hear more about your experience with emotional repression, or any type of repression. Speak to you later.